race fans, welcome to the pilot episode of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. The Turn 5 Racing Podcast is going to be hosted by yours truly, Stephen Ovens. I'll also have my co-host with me, Clint Miller. Clint couldn't make it with us into the studio tonight, but I got to tell you, for having a backup plan, we got a pretty good one. We got Brad Ovens filling in for us tonight. Brad, how you doing?
We're doing good. The weather's starting to turn a little cold outside, but we're not going to let that get us down.
No, man, the weather has been getting cold, but the racing on the track has certainly been getting hot here in the postseason. A couple years ago, the World of Outlaws called it their summer of money. Well, I got to tell you, as far as the dirt modifieds go, it's the fall of money. Starting with Super Dirt Week and all of the satellite shows that lead up to that. But I got to tell you, man, we got a great show on tap tonight. This is our pilot episode, and fans are going to tune in and say, all right, what's Turn 5? I've heard of shows like the 31st Lap. I listened to the stuff on Doug's Dirt Diary. What exactly are you guys doing that's different? And the answer to that is simple. We're not doing anything different. We feel that those guys are doing just as good a job as anybody, and we just want to give you a little bit more. Because, Brad, you know this just as well as I do. In the racing off-season, in the wintertime, we start getting into the holidays, I just run out of stuff to listen to watch, and I start watching them over and over again.
Well, we're very lucky with today's technology and DVDs that we have. We don't have to worry about wearing out the old VHS cassettes anymore. So, it's a little easier to watch the old racing. But like you said, after you watch the race about 25,000 times, it's about pretty much the same to you.
Absolutely, and that's what we're looking to do here is just give our race fans a little bit more to listen to. We are looking at adding video at some point, but for right now we're just going to start with an audio podcast. We do have a fine list of business partners that are coming on board with us, starting with Penny Ann Electronics down in Penny Ann, New York. We've also got Creekside Entertainment. We've got RaceChaserOnline.com, and we're starting off with those guys being on board with us, and I'm sure as time goes on, we'll add a few more.
Absolutely, and it's it's really looking good because like you said, there are a few shows out there, but unfortunately, we don't. Dirt track racing in our area doesn't quite get the same coverage like it used to with Chasing Racing and a lot of the media exposure that we used to have. So, I think it's really going to be good to have Turn 5 here, and I think everybody can look forward to it.
I'm really glad you brought up Chasing Racing, too, because when Clint Miller and I first talked about this idea of doing some kind of racing show or radio show or podcast, whatever, that was exactly what we had in mind. Was we were huge fans of Chasing Racing with Doug Madison and Jack Christensen, and then later on it was Jack and Byrosh, with Byrosh. Or actually, I believe it was Byrosh and Dougie. But, that's really what we wanted to base our show off of, is, those guys did such a great job covering the local guys and reading results and doing that kind of thing. So that's really what we're looking to do here with Turn 5. Coming up on the show, we are going to do a preview show for the Empire 100 taking place over at the Black Rock Speedway this weekend. They've got a huge card on tap for the Dutch Hogue National Open, which is going to feature the Street Stock Empire 100, a small block, big block modified challenge.
Always
and
that
is always a good race.
Last year, they did the small block, big block challenge. And if you haven't seen a small block, big block challenge at Black Rock Speedway, that is not a modified race you want to miss.
No, not at all. Not at all. So you've got the small block and big block challenge. You've also got a crate special for the sportsman guys. You've got the IMCA Empire Series, and another great series coming up as well on Saturday is the Go Nuclear Late Model Challenge Series. These guys come from all over the place. I had an opportunity to go up and film a race for Go Nuclear up at the Humberstone Speedway, and these guys are on top of their game. So those guys are going to put on a good show. Plus, you also have the rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive, 4 cylinders, and a completion of a street stock feature from Father's Day. And that one, it was a 50-lap affair, and I believe they're continuing around lap 14 or lap 13, something of that sort. So, a lot of racing going on over at Black Rock this weekend.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be nuts. When they named it the Dutch Hogue National Open, there is nothing left at the door by the name National Open. With 100 lap, you're going to have probably roughly around 100 to 150, 160 laps of street stock racing, the small block, big block challenge, the Go Nuclear late models, crate special. You've got IMCA modifieds, rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive 4-cylinder challenges. There's nothing going to be left at the door. Just an amazing, amazing show.
And oh, by the way, you talk about Empire 100. These street stock guys are going to time trial, which is something that they're not used to doing, and I think is the coolest thing for a special show like this. Last year, Dylan Cece set quick time, and Dylan is going to join us on the show tonight and talk to us about running at Black Rock and the key to getting around that joint. We've got Dylan Cece coming up. We've got Rich Sharpstein coming up, who had a dominant car at Black Rock this year. Picked up a feature win, and picked up a feature win along the way at other places as well. He's going to talk about that. And we're also going to bring on a guy who's a late model regular, both at Black Rock and on the BRP Tour Series. Jared Hill is going to join us. He's got a one-off deal for the Empire 100, so he's going to be crawling back into a street stock. He's going to be telling us all about that. We just got a great pilot episode. First up, before we go any further, we're going to get our co-host, who couldn't join us in the studio tonight. We're going to get Clint Miller on the line, and when we come back to Turn 5, it is going to be a shake and bake preview. We'll be right back with Clint Miller. You're listening to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, your dirt track racing home for news, discussion, and driver interviews. Okay, we're going to bring our first guest in tonight on the hotline. So we'll swing over to the Turn 5 hotline and bring in our co-host for the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, Clint Miller. Clint, how you doing tonight, bud?
Good. How you doing tonight, Steven?
Man, we're doing good. We're excited running our pilot episode tonight. And really, this was kind of one of those things that you and I sat around and talked back and forth about for, I don't know, all season this year. And now we're finally getting ready to do it when racing season's all done.
Better late than never. Yeah, it's been it's been something that I've always wanted to do since Chasing Racing was kind of off the air. So I figure what better way to start it than when somebody that's been around it as long as I have.
Well, I think that's the one thing that we're going to be able to bring to our listeners is experience of all different kinds in the motorsports world. Certainly you and your dad, Bill, have been racing around the tracks here, Dundee, Woodhall, everywhere for I don't know how long, and my experience is both racing, media, video. If it's at a racetrack, I've tried to do it, so I think that's something we're definitely going to be able to bring to the fans.
Yeah, I think Dad. Dad was around racing. I wouldn't even dare to say how long. Probably 45 years, roughly. And I'm 30. I won't date myself, but I've been around it at least 35.
What is it that you love about racing so much?
It's down home. It's family. When you get right down to it, when you get involved, it's generally with people that you want to be with and you want to spend a lot of time with, and they're your family away from your family. and racing has just been a big part of it. And racing in general is just one big family.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. As long as you and I have been around the racetrack, there's people that are just exactly that. They're family that, these are kind of the people that you and I would never get a chance to meet if we'd never gone to the racetrack before.
Oh, that's very true. And I don't know how many times you sit there and you need a part, and you can go to somebody that you've never met before, you've never seen. You ask them if they got something, and 90% of them will let you borrow it because they know, they would want the same done for them.
Absolutely, and I think the other thing that to go along with that is this is something that you hear about quite a bit on the Traveling Tour series, ESS, Patriot, BRP late model, you name it. Family is a big part of it. So that's a great thing about racing.
It really is, and when you look around, I'm more familiar with the BRP series. I follow the sprints and all that because of our local connection. But Wonderlings, Jim Schuyler's been around for a long time, and it's just names that are synonymous with people that you've known forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually remember when I was a little kid and really not having any reason to root against them, but I always found myself rooting against a Bill Miller or a Jim Schuyler because I was born in the Carrick clan.
Well, the feeling is definitely mutual. The Carricks, the Millers, the Schuyler's, they never seem to really see eye to eye for whatever reason. It's you have those hometown rivalries, and they're going to happen, and it adds a little spice, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's just one of those great parts of racing. So, what exactly are you looking forward to doing the podcast here? I know you're just as excited about it as I am.
I am. I like the fact that I think we need a little local something to get going because there's a lot of local people that do this, and I think since Chasing Racing has been gone, it seems that the crowds are starting to get down a little, and I think that by getting it out there and trying to get the dirt racing community back and letting it be known, let's try to get people back to the racetrack.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. And I think the other thing that we want to do here with the Turn 5 podcast is focus a lot on the local Central New York, Finger Lakes region racetracks, your Black Rocks, your Woodhalls, Canandaigua. And I'm telling you, man, my favorite thing of 2014, and I hope it happens, is the reopening of Weedsport Speedway.
Oh, I tell you, just by you talking about that, it gives me goosebumps. I didn't go there a lot, but every time I went there, the D-shaped Demon, it was just, that was the place to go with Barefoot Bob McCready and Jack Johnson, Danny Johnson, Alan Johnson. The list goes on.
Oh, absolutely, man. I can't wait because I'm telling you, they reopened that joint. This guy's going to have a season pass.
I'm really looking forward to it. I was curious to see how how it went and how the track was. Being how most opening nights tracks have a tendency to be a little rough, but I heard it wasn't the case there.
Man, that track was smooth as glass out there at Weedsport during Super Dirt Week, and I can't just to set the picture for you. The track was smooth, and the track was tacky to start with. I can't tell you the last time I saw Weedsport tacky. And not only was the track beautiful, the grandstands were packed. They had so many cars show up for that 358 Modified Series race. They were parking haulers out in the parking lot. And you had cars parked in places that they haven't been parked at Weedsport in a long, long time. And there was just a lot of excitement, and I know they're just gonna hit a home run next year if they open back up.
I did hear, and I did see pictures of haulers in the parking lot, and that's great to see. I couldn't have been happier for their turnout.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, I thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. We're definitely going to have you in here next week for episode 1 officially. Just running our pilot episode tonight, but we're looking forward to it, and thanks for calling us tonight, Clint. Appreciate it.
Oh, man, not a problem. Not a problem. I can't wait to be in studio.
All right, man. All right, guys, that's Clint Miller. He's our co-host here of the Turn 5 podcast. He's going to be joining us in studio next week, and we are looking forward to bringing you weekly racing coverage here in the Finger Lakes. Penyan Electronics has everything you need to keep your phone, computer, and home theater system sounding sharp. Visit them on Main Street in beautiful downtown Penyan, or give them a call. Call our favorite salesman, Clint Miller, at 536-7700.
Welcome back to the Turn 5 podcast. Now we turn it over to Steve Ovens with BRP late model driver Jared Hill.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go back over to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast hotline. We're going to bring in the driver of the 12J late model. He'll be driving a little something different this weekend, Jared Hill. Jared, how you doing tonight, bud?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, we're doing well. We're doing well. So tell me, how did everything come together for you to run the Empire 100 this weekend?
I don't know. I was looking for a ride and talking to people, and Clint Miller got hold of Carl Cleveland who had a car sitting around, and they agreed if I put my drivetrain in it, I could race it.
There you go. Now, normally this year you've been running the BRP late model, correct?
Yep.
And I know it's been a little bit of a tough season for you in the late model, but you guys really start to hit on some things there toward the end of the season.
You know, I started actually driving Jim's 57J towards the end of the year, and we started having some pretty good runs places, and hopefully, depending on what happens with the class next year, we're not totally sure. Hopefully we can be strong wherever we run next year.
Yeah, I know that there's looking to be some changes, and certainly nothing that's been announced yet, but a lot of speculation. So, running the late model, what has been your favorite part of running that car?
Just the way they drive and handle it, just totally different than anything they'll drive. When you go in the corner and set the car and the left rear hikes up and you can feel all the rear steer, it's just fun. It just, I don't know, just kind of driving something that looks like a late model, and they're just fun to drive when they're on. When they're off, they're a handful.
Yeah, and then you look at, the race that's coming up this weekend, you're climbing back into the street stock. What is the key to getting around Black Rock the right way?
This weekend, you got to time trial good and get somewhere up towards the front in the heat, because there ain't going to be a lot of passing, and just try to get on the bottom of the track, so I don't think there's going to be much of a top, and try to pick the guys off, and just don't screw up. You got to hit your marks every lap. That's going to be the key for just to stay up front or get in the show. Just try to work underneath somebody and get by him.
Yeah, certainly getting in the show is going to be important. And, that's something I wanted to touch on with you as well. Black Rock, back when I raced, and God, that was a long time ago, but still, Black Rock used to be a place where if you could keep your momentum up on the top side, that was a quick way around. And with the track reconfigurations, it's just not that way anymore.
No, I don't know why. It's 3 and 4 is real hard and slick anymore, where you really just kind of, you get the car set in the corner, and you tend to skate more in that end of the track than 1 and 2, but when the track dries out, you're right around the turtle. I don't know why, but it seems the way it is.
Yeah, it seems that's really the fast way to get around Black Rock anymore. What are you looking for this weekend? Do we have any goals going into the weekend other than making the show?
Yeah, I really want to make the show, and I've always had horrible luck in the race. I just want to finish. I've only finished 1, and that was 2011 when I finished 4th, and just want to finish in the top 5 again and hopefully have a chance in the last 10 laps to win the race. That'd be nice.
And certainly this track isn't too far from the Creekside Racing Shop. How much would it mean to get the Empire 100 win?
It'd mean a lot. It's the biggest race around for the street stocks, in my opinion, and you run against some of the best of the best, and it'd mean a lot. It really would. There's some pretty good guys that won the race, and some pretty good guys that haven't won the race. So it really would be one that's 4 and done racing that really want to win this race.
Who are you guys looking at this point as guys that could be favorites to win the race?
Jerry Petrobras is going to be tough. Dylan CC will be tough. Richie Sharp's going to be tough. A lot of the Southern Tier guys, there's probably going to be 15 cars if circumstances play right and they can keep themselves on the lead lap for the end they can win this race.
How many cars do you think we're going to get on Saturday?
I would say at least 70. I would be really surprised if they ain't at least 70.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about this show, and I know there's a lot of people that are looking forward to it. But, Jared, we really appreciate you taking some time tonight to talk to us about the Empire 100, and certainly on Saturday over there at Black Rock Speedway, we're going to see you there for the Dutch Oak National Open. Thanks for your time tonight, Jared.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's Jared Hill, and he's going to be driving in the Empire 100 this weekend. He's definitely going to be a guy that you want to look out for. And coming up, we're going to talk to a couple more drivers that you're going to want to look out for in the field. Thanks for listening. This is Turn 5. Race Chaser Online is your nationwide hub for short track racing, news, video, and audio. Find them online, www.racechaseronline.com, and also find them on Tuesdays and Thursday nights on Speed 77 Radio on live stream. Welcome back to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, race fans. And Brad, we just heard from Jared Hill, who's got a one-off deal, working on a car out of the Carl Cleveland stable, which you and I both know is no slouch of a racing stable, for sure, out of the Double Deuce Racing team. And, Jared is a guy that you can't overlook. He's got a lot of laps in a street stock at Black Rock. Hell, he's got a lot of laps, period, at Black Rock. The guy started in the 4-cylinders.
He does. He has a lot of laps. He has laps in the BRP late models. He has laps in the Pro Truck Series when they had it. He's also had wins in that Pro Truck Series, which is virtually almost the same thing as the street stock, but with a truck body on it. So the guy knows how to get around the track in this type of car.
He certainly does. And, the other thing, too, is his shop is literally across the creek from the racetrack. And there's not a guy that's closer to the Speedway. There's not a guy that knows the Speedway any better than Jared does. And like Jared said to us in his interview, he's got that track down where he remembers what the track used to be like when he used to be able to run the outside consistently and make passes. And maybe with the track conditions being what they're going to be on Saturday, maybe some guys are going to try and run the top side. And I'm telling you, if there's a guy that's going to find something out there that nobody else is going to find, it's going to be Jared. And the other guys might figure it out, but Jared will be out there searching.
Absolutely. I definitely think you hit it on the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head, as they like to say. But I think Jared's definitely going to be a guy to watch out for. I think his experience with the late model that he's gotten now is only going to help him, because as we all know, those late models aren't a cakewalk around Central Park. So
absolutely. And the one thing that we should touch on too is Jared's got a great crew behind him. There's not a crew in racing over there at Black Rock that works harder than that Creekside Racing crew. They've been putting in a ton of hours this week at the shop just to try and get Jared's car ready for him.
And, if you're not following them already, you can check them out on Facebook with Jared Hill. They've got pictures posted of, they've got special pictures, well, not special pictures, but they've got pictures posted of the race shop. And, you've got 3 cars in the shop. They're all torn apart, no bodies on them. They're taking everything apart. They're taking suspensions apart. They're taking wheels off. They're doing everything they can to make sure that car is ready and race ready to go to race a 100-lap race.
Yeah, and actually, while you said that, I brought that picture up that we were checking out. It looks like we've got a BRP late model. We've got 1 street stock, 2 street stock, 3 street stock, and Richie's is across town. So you got, 5 cars, including the late model there, getting ready to go. with these guys. One of those street stocks out of the Creekside Racing Shop is that of Dylan Cece's, driver of the number 93. And we are going to go over to the Turn 5 hotline and get Dylan on the phone and talk with him about the Empire 100. We're going to go back to the Turn 5 hotline and bring in the driver of the number 93, Dylan Cece. You're going to see him over at Black Rock Speedway for the Empire 100 this weekend. Dylan, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
We're doing good. So tell me, you race the street stock all year long, which is a little different than what we just talked to Jared Hill. So how has the season been for you in the number 93?
It was a pretty decent season. We didn't end up with the wins that we were hoping for, but we were really close on a few wins. Should have won probably a few more than we did, but came up short in a couple. But we got one win at Black Rock and one win at Woodhall this year. So.
And certainly those two tracks there, Black Rock and Woodhall, are almost polar opposites.
Yeah, they're definitely two completely different tracks.
What is it, focusing now on the Empire 100, what is it that's your favorite part about racing at Black Rock? What is it about the track that you like?
Usually the track's pretty smooth and fast. Most of the time there's a ton of bite, and even when it gets slick, it's still a fun track to run. And it's basically just the speed I like.
It seems like that really suits your driving style there, because every time I've been over there this year to see you run, you've really been stout.
Yeah, we've been pretty good this year.
Now we're going to talk about, it's going to be a 100-lap race this weekend. Have you ever done the 100 in the street stock there?
Yeah, I actually ran it last year.
And how did we fare out there last year?
We time trialed quickest out of 74 cars, I believe it was. I won my heat, started on the front row, and led to lap 40, and we broke something in the motor and just finished the race butting around. We ended up like 9th or something, but...
So now being that was the result last time, anything different you guys are doing to get ready for this weekend?
No, not really. We're just double-checking everything and making sure we got the right compound tires for the feature. It's obviously a lot more than we usually run, so it's definitely a big difference, and you got to save the tires.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be a key, too, is tires. The way the schedule looks with racing starting at 1 o'clock, you guys will be doing some racing in the daylight.
Yeah, the track's definitely going to get really slick. I mean, by the time trials are over, the track will be pretty slick, I'm sure, like it was last year. So it's going to be tough on tires. Whoever can save their tires is probably going to be up front.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the same thing. Now, I got to ask you, just knowing some personal information about yourself, I know that you do a lot of racing online. Anything that you do there transfer over to the dirt cars?
No, not really. All the online racing is asphalt. So
how much fun do we have doing that?
It's definitely not as fun, but it's something to do in the winter when we're bored.
There you go. Well, as we like to do with the drivers that we have on here, I want to give you a chance to give some shout-outs to some people that are going to help you get there to the racetrack on Saturday.
Yeah, I definitely got to thank my parents. They've been a huge help. My sister, her fiance, they helped me out all year. My grandparents, my sponsors, Straw Street Service, Elliott Logging, King Market, Turn 6 Photos, my girlfriend for all the help. She supports my racing, surprisingly, so I got to thank everyone that helps out.
That's great. All right, Dylan, well, we look forward to seeing you over there on Saturday, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking to you this week next time.
All right, hopefully. See you guys later.
All right, guys, that's Dylan Cece, driver of the 93. You're going to see him over at Black Rock on Saturday for the Empire 100. Thanks for listening to Turn 5. We'll be right back. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and karaoke provider of the Turn 5 podcast. You can visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700. Welcome back to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. I'm Steve Ovens with tonight's co-host, Brad Ovens. Brad, we just heard from Dylan Cece. And like we said at the top of the show, it's going to be a guy that you got to watch for. I mean, the only reason that he wasn't in the running at the end of last year's race was they had an engine trouble, and the guy qualified first, and had he been there at the end of the race, he would have been in contention.
We're going to take Dylan Ceesay and we're going to describe him in 2 words. Those 2 words, wheel man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I could not think of any better way to describe CC. It doesn't matter what he gets in. I went down to Woodhull over the summer to watch the Patriot Sprint Tour and do a little article for Race Chaser Online. After the races were over, they stuck CC in a modified and let him go around Woodhull in the modified, and then they posted a video up on on Facebook later on, and just exactly what you just said, wheelman. And I don't see any reason why CC can't be up in a higher class in the next couple of years.
I definitely think it's going to be something to look forward to. The way that he's going right now, I mean, the kid's got a future in racing. Whether he sticks it here with the dirt racing and goes up through the ranks, or, I definitely think he's got a future in the asphalt racing. He may not really admit it too much, but, I think he's definitely got a future with the asphalt racing. I mean, iRacing, it's simulation racing, but, a lot of guys, Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards, those guys have said, that iRacing simulation is as close to actual racing that, those guys can get. And, I'd take the credibility from Tony Stewart coming from a guy, a multi-time NASCAR champion.
Yeah, the original wheelman, if you will, Tony Stewart. And, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think the sky's the limit for CC. But here's the other thing that I want to say about him, too. He's done it the right way. He started in the Black Rock Bandits, and you and I both have a wealth of knowledge from the Black Rock Bandits. That is where these drivers need to start. And that's where CC started, got a lot of good experience, so that now when he's up in the street stock, getting ready for the Empire 100, he's got a lot of laps under his belt, and lets him goes out and qualifies first and is in contention for the win in the first half of the race. So CC's a guy you want to watch for. But I'm going to tell you, Brad, as much as you got to watch for CC, you also got to watch for the next guy that we're going to talk to, and that's the driver of the Flying X.
You're listening to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast.
Okay, guys, we're back here on Turn 5. We're about ready to get our last interview of the night, so we'll swing over to the Turn 5 hotline and bring in the driver of the Flying X, Rich Sharpstein. Rich, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, we're just staying busy trying to get cars ready for the big weekend of Black Rock this weekend.
Yeah, I heard there's a big race over there this weekend.
Yeah, we got our end-of-the-year 100-lapper, plus we got makeup from Father's Day, so there's a lot of racing for us that day.
I forgot all about that. You guys got the finish of that race. Do you know how much is left of that race?
36 laps of that one.
Okay, and that was that originally a 50-lapper?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys have actually got a lot on your plate that you guys are preparing for.
Yeah, it's like 160 or 150 laps of racing. So yeah, we're just trying to make sure everything's 100% and give it our best shot, both of them.
So any focus areas that you guys are looking at this week on the car? I know you've been running the street stock all year. We talked to Jared earlier, who has run the late model more and is just kind of doing the one-off thing this weekend. But, for somebody that's drove the car all year long, is there anything you got to look at getting ready to do all this racing this weekend?
Our biggest thing is we're going back to the setup where we were at the beginning of the year when we were winning races, and then we kind of strayed away from it, thinking we could always make the car better. And in the long run, it actually hurt us down the road. So we're going back to where we were at the beginning of the year and hope for the best with that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like when you try something like that to go yourself a little bit quicker, it always seems like, God, man, we got to go back to square one where we started from.
Yeah, it's something we probably should have done, but we just kept straying farther and farther away. And we kept trying to do things that other chassis builders are recommending, and it really just does not work well with the car that we have. So we got to go back to what we know works and go from there.
Yeah, and what a weekend to go back to square one, you know, getting ready for the Empire 100. What are you guys looking for this weekend?
Well, I'm personally, I feel that in the 100 that we got one of the cars to beat. I mean, as a Black Rock regular, I think it'll come down to one of the Black Rock regulars, I'd say. And we were one of the fastest ones there week in and week out, so I think we got a real good chance at it.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, you guys have had just a stout piece all year long. And really, yes, you guys have run Black Rock every week, but you guys have really done some traveling with the Flying X this year.
Yeah, we've gone to Woodhall, Skyline, Thunder Mountain, and every place we've gone with it, we've been competitive. And Black Rock, we feel, sets our own stomping ground that we're one up on all the outsiders coming in.
Yeah, and I asked this question to Jared earlier in the show. Being that you guys are some of the hometown heroes this weekend, what would it mean to pull down a win like this weekend?
It'd definitely be probably the biggest win of my career. And I've been in the race one other time, and I missed the show last year. And ever since they come out with this race, as a street stock driver or as anybody, I mean, you can even ask people like Bob Bono and stuff like that. To win this race means more to us local guys and stuff like that than it'd be like somebody out going out in NASCAR winning the 500.
Wow, that's good stuff, man. And I got to ask you one more question on top of that. Would this beat any of the track championships?
It would. That's hard to say because my championship last year at Black Rock was something I tried. I mean, it took me like 14 years of trying to get it, but it would definitely be right up there with it. It'd be more than any win I've ever had, and it run real close second to the championship last year.
Yeah, man, winning a championship there is just something that you're always going to have with you. Doesn't matter what class you get it in.
And that's how I look at it too.
I totally feel you on that one. So, all right, man. Well, before we get you out of here, and we certainly thank you for your time, we want to give you an opportunity to give a little call to all the people that are going to help you get there this weekend.
I got to thank my grandmother and great-grandmother, Roger and my mom, Jeremy, JJ, all the crew guys, Jared, Paul. There's a group of us that have pretty much dedicated a lot of time and hours, and everybody's kind of pulling together to make sure we got everything we need to go. Couldn't do it without the sponsors, Juanita Inn, Our Family Circle Tax Service, A+ Superior Service, WJS Construction with beer goggles, Creekside Entertainment, Jared Hill and them, they're right across town. We kind of try to help each other when we can. So without all them people, we wouldn't be going racing this weekend.
Yeah, you guys are certainly coming with a strong team this weekend, and I think you guys are certainly going to be one of the favorites. So we wish you a lot of luck, and we certainly thank you for coming on the Turn 5 Racing Podcast tonight, man.
All righty, thank you.
All right, guys, that's Rich Sharpstein, driver of the Flying X, and I'm telling you, he's going to be a guy you got to watch out for on Saturday in the Empire 100 at the Dutch Hogue National Open. We'll be right back here with Turn 5. You're listening to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, your dirt track racing home for news, discussion, and driver interviews. Hey race fans, we're back here. We're about ready to wrap up the pilot episode of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. And Brad, I got to tell you, it's been a long night getting all this new stuff figured out, but I got to tell you, I think the fans are going to really like what we got for them.
I really think they are too, because it's a lot of quality, craftsmanship here. We'll call it a craft, but like we were talking about earlier, with the absence of Chasing Racing, and there's not a lot of other stuff. There are some things out there that do cover a lot of it, but I think this is really going to be something the fans can look forward to.
Absolutely, and this was really what Clint and I had envisioned, was trying to bring something back for the fans to listen to and hear the top 10 results from the classes, and that's what we hope to bring to you guys. Hopefully we don't butcher names too bad, but as Jack and Doug always used to say, if we're butchering it, we apologize. So we're looking forward to doing that. I do want to mention real quick our sponsors that are on board with us as of right now. Penn Yan Electronics down in Main Street in Penn Yan. Race Chaser Online, you can find them at racechaseronline.com. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter. And also check them out on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Speed 77 Radio on livestream.com. And, of course, Creekside Entertainment over in Newark, your leader in wedding DJs, photo booth, and the most up-to-date karaoke in the Finger Lakes, based out of Newark, New York. If you need a DJ, know somebody getting married, give Stu a call, 315-481-9700. Brad, as we get ready to wrap up, do we dare take any picks for Saturday?
I'm going to say the guy that crosses the line first.
Yeah, well, of course, that's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of strong cars there, and, I can think of a handful of Black Rock regulars that I can think of that, are going to be in contention. But, I am going to make a pick, and I think this guy's had an up and down season. Recently, they've been struggling a little bit. They've been trying some new stuff, some things that haven't worked out for them, but they're going back to square one. They're going back to what they know works, and I'm going to go with the Flying X for the Empire 100, Rich Sharpstein.
That's certainly not a bad choice, as we all know. He does have a lot of experience and, as well, many feature wins, track championships at the track. So, I definitely think it's going to be a hard-fought race, as CC mentioned in his interview earlier. 74 cars showing up last year, qualifying first. I hate to be the bandwagoner, but I'm going to keep my faith in CC, and assuming the car holds together and he's there, top 5, top 10, come the end of the race, I think he's definitely going to be a force to reckon with.
That's not a bad pick either. Well, folks, we thank you for joining us for our pilot episode. We will be back next week for our first official episode. Clint will be in studio with us. And we thank you again for joining us, and we will see you out at Black Rock Speedway. Fans, remember, you got to check it before you wreck it.